This is the news brief on the hour with me, Esther Suzanette Bassi. President Julius Maada Bio has said that the 14th National Delegates Conference of the Sierra Leone People's Party, SLPP, was more than a meeting. It is a defining moment for the party's future and leadership. He made the statement at the Bintumani Conference Center in Aberdeen, Freetown, during the opening ceremony of the party's National Delegates Conference, which is underway in Freetown. Party members, supporters, and delegates from across Sierra Leone and abroad have gathered in Freetown to reflect, strategize, and recommit to the SLPP's mission. President Bio hailed the party's unity and discipline, especially during the internal elections. He encouraged the party's executive to maintain peace and unity. The president said the SLPP would break records by winning a third straight election. APC Acting Chairman Ambassador Usman Fode Ansane praised the SLPP for holding a well-organized conference and reaffirmed commitment to democratic cooperation. The National Delegates Conference is set to continue with elections and closed-door sessions through Thursday. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, and the Environment Protection Agency, EPA, have ended a national stakeholder consultative engagement on a study that is aimed at addressing the vulnerabilities due to climate change in coastal communities, using the Plantain and Yeliboya Islands as a case study. The study shows that urgent action is needed to mitigate the effects of climate change on the coastline. Focal person Climate Action with the International Organization for Migration, IOM, Moses Koma, said their visibility study showed that the challenges are due to natural and human activities which have been ongoing on the islands. The Plantain and Yeliboya are predominantly fishing islands located along vulnerable coastal zones with over 5,000 inhabitants. Over the years, there have been numerous problems such as land degradation, erosion, and flooding. In a move to improve local investment opportunities, the National Investment Board has helped a mapping and designing public-private dialogue with partners to support the development and implementation of one-stop shop center for investment in the country. The theme for the dialogue is building a smarter one-stop shop center business environment, accelerating business entering through collaborative reform. The dialogue session brought together government stakeholders and investment partners, and according to the Deputy Executive Director, National Investment Board, Marwa Sandi, the engagement aimed to create a predictable, transparent, and efficient environment where businesses can start and grow with confidence. She said the one-stop shop center model was central, serving as a front line for entrepreneurs and investors experiencing the country's regulatory framework. The Deputy Executive Director said that, despite significant progress, they still face challenges on redundant procedures, limited automation, coordination gaps among institutions, and inconsistent service delivery, which affects the ease of doing business. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice Alpha Sise said business facilitation was central on how the country delivers on economic empowerment, job creation, and national competitiveness. The Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, SLAJ, in collaboration with the Veteran Journalists Union, has opened a book of condolence in memory of the veteran journalist Ibrahim Karim Sey, who died on. The solemn events took place at the SLAJ's headquarters in Freetown, and it brought together former colleagues, friends, and family members of a man many described as a pillar of truth and professionalism in journalism. The chairman of the Veteran Journalists Union and a founding member of SLAJ, Unisa Sise, described the late man as a humble and peaceful character who contributed immensely to shaping journalism in Sierra Leone. As former Secretary General of SLAJ, Ibrahim Karim Sey played a critical role in the growth and transformation of the association. He helped strengthen the organization's structure, expand its influence, and advocate for press freedom at a time when journalism was faced with major challenges. Well, that's all for News Brief on the Hour with me, Esther Suzanette Bassi. Thanks for watching. Continue to stay glued.
Here's how to register for Salon Payment Switch using AfriMoney. Dial *161#. Select option 1. Go to option 4 for Salon Payment Switch. Select option 2 for account registration. Select 1 to register your alias, which is your phone number. Enter your PIN to confirm. You will receive an SMS confirming your registration. AfriMoney, quick and easy.
For visit family na some partner upline pass you the tinker.
Me na Temukagbo, me na school teacher.
Temukagbo na teacher na the Untilon Secondary School, where they na Mabang. As somebody where they na the community day, he gets experience of how good road and bridge don't change book learning na in community. Even though better book learning na right for everybody, picking them na upline can struggle for go school. And this na one big challenge na some parts them na upline. And that's not the reason why good road them we connect school them important. For make picking them go able go school, travel safe, and get better chance for land book. Temu, they live close to the Koblo Gulama Bridge. One big bridge we don't help push book learning go far na the area day. Because of the new bridge, more picking them don't begin going out hunting down school. Something will not be possible before.
But now since the time they make for this bridge, I would say what thank you. Because the canal and the school and the other surrounding villages, and even the trader and the farmer them.
Now, most of the picking them from primary to secondary don't they go school every day. For them picking there, the way for get better future now for go school. And good road make that possible. Good road they open door for education, connects community them, and boost local business them. So tell me which road you want travel.
water business, now we're all business. We don't have enough police to go and soldiers to go all over the mountains. Sierra Leoneans, then they go on net and they take power saw, then they cut the forest. People who claim to be elites, they go build now the green zone. I have had to personally take money from my own pocket to give it to bulldozers to bulldoze these houses. We are destroying one of the most valuable resources in this country and anywhere in the world, this water catchment area. A lot of people go at night and do exactly the opposite. And for those who are building mansions, those mansions are going to go down. The only sanctuary, animal sanctuary we have here for the chimpanzees. Human beings almost invaded, and they will come back complaining that the chimpanzees have affected them. Elsewhere, this is preserved. You don't need to be there. It is our responsibility. It's the national animal of this country. Are you Sierra Leoneans? You are not when you do that. I can't be everywhere, and I can't provide policemen and soldiers to enforce this. We should be our own disciplinarians.
In the early morning lights of Lokomasama chiefdom in the Port Loko district of Sierra Leone, fields are ready for a bountiful harvest. President Julius Maada Bio arrives to witness a vision of self-sufficiency. P.C. and Sons, a name synonymous with agricultural excellence, is celebrating its inaugural onion harvest. The president's visit is a call to action for the private sector to join the agricultural revolution. During his second term, President Bio launched the Big Five Game Changers with Feed Salon at its core.
Proud of P.C. and Sons. Now, one of the private sector operators that we don't take seriously every bit of thing who don't tell them concerning how we improve this country. Today, I as a testament to that, and for sure their support and encourage others, private sector, for let them come in and do what we say good for the country.
The initiative aims to reduce dependency on imports and enhance food security.
Government is plenty, but the private sector is the main engine for drive feed cycle and for drive the ways to be sustainable. You see, and so they don't decide saying the about to design a salon, a yard that is grow up, a yard that is bag up, and sell out.
Local farmers play a crucial role in this transformation.
Oh, the different, the great. So the way the machine or they buy now, when I know they see one bag of us. We sell all and with the oxen. But this year we not oxen we have us there. We tell God thank you for that. We not talk and do, and we not talk we not do. Anyway, the profit what they get. One person not the eater.
The machine, the way you cow the abas, so put her inside, we hit them, but we not don't see the abas now. So we not get to talk pandandi.
We get widow, they among we they not get man. We get picking they among we they not get papa, they not get daddy, and mama. We they help them small. Out of that small benefit, so we they get.
It will continue because ultimately it will continue, and don't bring something kind of life. What we say we get for trailer because we get it all in number. With the fan who side and they
President Bio calls for local businesses to join the agricultural revolution.
This year is one of the biggest importers, not only of onion, virtually of all the other commodities in white. But 4 years, 5 years ago, a challenger said, not to so want to run this country. We want to make they produce your own thing, so we don't want to supply other people their work and money.
With continued efforts, Sierra Leone is poised to transform its agricultural landscape.
The plan for the October seeding for going to phase 2. The phase 2 will take me to 120 hectares of cultivation of land. In that we get 100 hectares will be onions and 20 hectares will be Irish potatoes.
Together, we can ensure that the rich soil of Sierra Leone nourishes its own people.
End up with nothing.
There are a series of dangers we face.
There are a series of dangers that we face. The soil, you see, is not compact. It can loosen up. So when you're working, there's the tendency for it to collapse on you, or stones will hit you.
For artisanal miners, most of the job is done by hand, with no safety gear or heavy equipment. The process is hard on both the miners and the land. After decades of mining activity, parts of this small West African nation have been reduced to wasteland. Pristine forests and swamps have been destroyed. Fishing and agriculture are no longer possible here. Food and water sources have been contaminated, making residents sick. Alaji Kalon and his community were forced to leave their village. Here too, he says, it doesn't look like they will be around for long.
Prospecting for diamonds is a gamble, and it's back-breaking work, especially for small-scale miners in Sierra Leone. Emmanuel Kwiwa and his team could be here for weeks or even months and still end up with nothing.
There are a series of dangers we face.
There are a series of dangers that we face. The soil, you see, is not compact. It can loosen up. So when you're working, there's the tendency for it to collapse on you, or stones will hit you.
For artisanal miners, most of the job is done by hand, with no safety gear or heavy equipment. The process is hard on both the miners and the land. After decades of mining activity, parts of this small West African nation have been reduced to wasteland. Pristine forests and swamps have been destroyed. Fishing and agriculture are no longer possible here. Food and water sources have been contaminated, making residents sick. Alaji Kalon and his community were forced to leave their village. Here too, he says, it doesn't look like they will be around for long.
We don't wash or bathe with the water. Neither do we cook or drink it. The chemicals used in mining is making us sick. Our farms no longer produce much.
Contamination is not the only threat. 2 weeks ago, a violent tremor shook this diamond mining town in the middle of the night, damaging homes and shops. It's not the first such incident, and residents are blaming one of the big mining companies operating nearby.
We want rights.
Activist Janet Bayo has been at loggerheads with mining companies in Kono for 20 years.
We are constantly under fear. I won't be surprised if our homes get flooded after this incident. It happened before.
Government officials say they are investigating and the sanctions will be applied.
Besides making sure that the true cost of the environment is borne by the mining companies is enforcement. They were putting in place coordination units.
Over the years, mining companies have simply packed up and gone after they are done, leaving behind a toxic legacy that continues to impact lives and livelihoods. Sierra Leone is rich in mineral resources, but in many places, they bring more pain than gain. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Kono, Sierra Leone.
Make sure to subscribe. We shall be shining the light on Sierra Leone, telling you everything you need to know about this beautiful country. Sierra Leone is a country located in the western part of Africa. It shares its southeastern border with Liberia, and the northern half of the nation is surrounded by Guinea, covering a total area of 71,740 square kilometers. Sierra Leone has a tropical climate with diverse environments ranging from savanna to rainforests. The country has a population of about 8.9 million people. The country is divided into 5 administrative regions, which are subdivided into 16 districts. Sierra Leone is a constitutional republic with a unicameral parliament and a directly elected president serving a 5-year term with a maximum of 2 terms. The current president is Julius Maada Bio. Sierra Leone is a secular nation with a constitution providing for the separation of state and religion and freedom of conscience, which includes freedom of thoughts and religion. Muslims make up about 3/4 of the population, though with an influential Christian minority. Religious tolerance in the West African nation is very high and is generally considered a norm and part of Sierra Leone's cultural identity. If you want to know more about this fascinating country, subscribe to the channel and come with me as we explore Sierra Leone together. 1. Sierra Leone has a rich and complex history that spans thousands of years. The territory of present-day Sierra Leone was inhabited by various ethnic groups, including the Temi and the Mendi, long before the arrival of Europeans in the late 15th century. The Portuguese were the first Europeans to arrive in Sierra Leone in the late 15th century, followed by the English, who established a colony on the coast in the late 18th century. The colony became a British protectorate in 1896, and in 1961, Sierra Leone gained independence from Britain. Sierra Leone has faced significant challenges in the post-independence era, including political instability, economic hardship, and a brutal civil war that lasted from 1991 to 2002. The war, which was fought between various rebel groups and government forces, resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of people and caused widespread displacement and destruction. In recent years, Sierra Leone has made significant progress in rebuilding and developing the country, with a growing economy, improving infrastructure, and a commitment to democracy and good governance. However, the country still faces significant challenges, including poverty, corruption, and environmental degradation. 2. Freetown is the capital and largest city of Sierra Leone, located on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. The city has a population of around 1 million people and is the economic, cultural, and political center of the country. Freetown was founded in 1787 by British abolitionists as a settlement for freed slaves, and it became the capital of the British colony of Sierra Leone in 1808. The city has a rich cultural heritage with a mix of African, European, and American influences. One of the most iconic landmarks in Freetown is the cotton tree, a massive tree located in the city center that has been a symbol of the city's resilience and strength for centuries. The city is also known for its beautiful beaches, including Lonely Beach and Toka Beach, as well as its vibrant music and dance scene. Freetown has faced significant challenges in recent years, including a devastating mudslide in 2017 that killed hundreds of people and caused widespread destruction. However, The city has also made significant progress in rebuilding and developing, with new infrastructure, businesses, and cultural initiatives. Today, Freetown is a dynamic and diverse city that is home to people from all over Sierra Leone and beyond. 3. Sierra Leone is a resource-rich country with a diverse economy that includes agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and services. However, the country still faces significant economic challenges, including poverty, unemployment, and a lack of basic infrastructure. As of 2023, the nominal GDP of Sierra Leone is $4.1 billion, while the GDP per capita is $494. Agriculture is one of the most important sectors of the Sierra Leonean economy, employing around 2/3 of the country's workforce. The country produces a variety of crops, including cocoa, coffee, palm oil, and rice, and is also a significant producer of diamonds and other minerals. Mining is another important sector of the Sierra Leonean economy, with the country being one of the largest producers of diamonds in the world. The country also has significant deposits of iron ore, bauxite, and gold. Manufacturing is a relatively small sector of the Sierra Leonean economy, but it is growing rapidly, particularly in the areas of food processing and textiles. Services, including banking and finance, telecommunications, and tourism, are also growing in importance. Sierra Leone has made significant progress in recent years in attracting foreign investment and promoting economic growth, but the country still faces significant challenges, including corruption, poor infrastructure, and a lack of skilled labor. The government of Sierra Leone, along with international partners, is working to address these challenges and promote sustainable economic development that benefits all Sierra Leoneans. 4. Marriage customs in Sierra Leone vary depending on the ethnic group and religion of the individuals involved. However, traditional customs and practices still play an important role in many marriages. In many ethnic groups, marriages are arranged by families, with the parents of the groom approaching the parents of the bride to arrange the marriage. However, this practice is becoming less common, and many couples now choose to marry based on mutual love and attraction. Weddings in Sierra Leone are often elaborate and colorful affairs, with a range of traditional customs and ceremonies. The bride and groom often wear traditional clothing, and there is typically a large feast and celebration following the ceremony. In many ethnic groups, the payment of a bride price is a customary practice, where the groom's family pays a sum of money or other gifts to the bride's family as a way of demonstrating their commitment to the marriage. Polygamy is also a common practice in many ethnic groups in Sierra Leone, although it is becoming less common in urban areas. Overall, marriage customs in Sierra Leone are diverse and reflect the country's rich cultural heritage. While traditional practices are still important, many couples are also choosing to incorporate modern elements into their weddings, creating a unique and personalized experience. 5. The education system in Sierra Leone is divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary education. Primary education is free and compulsory for children between the ages of 6 and 14, and the government has made significant efforts to increase enrollment and improve the quality of education in primary schools. However, many children still do not have access to education, particularly in rural areas. Secondary education is also available in Sierra Leone, but it is not free and is often prohibitively expensive for many families. The government is working to increase access to secondary education and improve the quality of teaching and learning in secondary schools. Tertiary education is available in Sierra operating in the country. However, access to tertiary education is limited, and many students face significant financial and other barriers to enrollment. Education in Sierra Leone faces significant challenges, including inadequate funding, poor infrastructure, and a lack of trained teachers. The government of Sierra Leone, along with international partners, is working to address these challenges and improve access to quality education for all Sierra Leoneans. 6. Sierra Leone is a country with a rich culture and natural beauty, and there are many tourist attractions that showcase the country's unique heritage and environment. One of the most popular tourist attractions in Sierra Leone is the Tacugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary, which is home to over 80 chimpanzees that have been rescued from the illegal wildlife trade. The sanctuary offers visitors the opportunity to learn about these amazing animals and their conservation. Another popular attraction is the Outamba Kalibi National Park, which is home to a variety of wildlife, including elephants, hippos, and chimpanzees. The park also offers visitors the opportunity to see traditional villages and learn about the local culture. For those interested in history, the Bunce Island Slave Fort is a must-visit attraction. The fort was a major slave trading center during the 18th century and offers a sobering reminder of the country's difficult past. Other popular tourist attractions in Sierra Leone include the beautiful beaches along the Freetown Peninsula, the historic street George Cathedral in Freetown, and the vibrant markets and cultural festivals that are held throughout the country. 7. There are some practices that may be considered shocking or controversial that are still practiced in Sierra Leone. One such practice is female genital mutilation, FGM, which is still widely practiced in Sierra Leone, particularly in rural areas. FGM involves the partial or total removal of the external female genitalia and is often performed on young girls as a way of marking their transition to womanhood. Despite efforts by the government and international organizations to eradicate the practice, it remains a deeply ingrained cultural tradition in many parts of the country.